Crossing the wilderness and becoming Hongjun, I originally just wanted to avoid following the old path and avoiding the fate of being in the small black room of the Purple Sky Palace for a long time, but how did things gradually go wrong? Just now, in this world, I have set a gender for my innate divine being. As a male, Luo Xuan, please don't learn from me just for the sake of some merit and energy. It's too much to become a female. Just opened up the path of Dalai Lama, condensed a false body from the past, but what are you doing, Beast Emperor? I'm really not a member of the fierce beast tribe. Chapter 1. I became Hongjun. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the wilderness, on Mount Yujing, clouds and mist shrouded, emitting a faint divine light. Every blade of grass and every tree emits strands of innate spiritual energy, slowly swallowing the spiritual energy between heaven and earth. In this sacred mountain, where countless innate formations converge, there is a peculiar gas that devours the spiritual machine between heaven and earth. Who am I, where am I, and what is the situation? In Hongjun's eyes, there was a hint of confusion, as if he had traveled through time. Looking at my own figure, the original human body had already disappeared and turned into a cloud of gas. Invisible and intangible, empty and empty. Hongjun, however, looked bewildered and completely confused about the situation. Above his head, a broken purple jade plate slowly emerged, and an inexplicable name appeared in his heart. In the wilderness, the creation of jade plates, innate energy, innate sacred embryo, the way of equality. If all of these are done, then I am Hongjun. Hongjun was slightly stunned when he realized that he had transcended into the innate divine of the vast world, the supreme being in charge of the avenue of unification. That is to say, Hongjun, the future ancestor of the Tao in this vast world, is the existence of the Tao through his own body. On Hongjun's face, he couldn't seem happy at all, crossing over into Hongjun. It seems like a good thing, but in reality. In many novels, it is referred to as the existence of villains and villains. Moreover, fate is extremely tragic. We have to fight against both the Beast Emperor and the Demon Ancestor. We finally won the battle and became a saint. Well, in the end, we still have to achieve a fate of combining ourselves with the Tao. What's the difference between this and permanently closing a small black room? Even in the end, they may not have a good reputation and may be labeled as villains, or big bosses by others. I didn't understand why before, but now Hongjun has understood. He is the innate divine, and the innate divine itself governs a path of heaven and earth, and what he controls is the path of equality. Equalizing everything, balancing everything. Whether it is the cycle of yin and yang and the 5 elements, or the fate of time and space, this path can be integrated into this path and serve as the hub of all great paths. This kind of road, although weak in the early stage, once successful, is undoubtedly against the sky and can integrate the characteristics of all roads. You are not afraid of this road. The most crucial thing is that even the heavenly way can be integrated into one's own path. Of course, it is impossible now. Based on the current situation, he is just an unborn innate divine, to put it simply, an unborn baby. Even if one is born with a divine and special nature and can feel that they are on the path of nurturing, it is impossible to balance other paths, such as the heavenly way. A small horse pulling a big cart, at least a small horse, is like being unborn, not even a small horse. However, Hongjun could vaguely perceive the specific function of his own path. This kind of avenue can, to some extent, serve as the hub of countless avenues. Perhaps in the future, the combination of body and mind will also account for this factor. Well, what's the use of thinking about this now? It's better to transform as soon as possible. If we don't play according to the routine in the future and don't compete for the position of the founder, then that's all. Hongjun sighed leisurely and quickly understood the current situation. He was thinking so much now, it was pure nonsense. He doesn't even have any transformation, just like a baby. What he wants to do in the future is to be born and transform. Born before, transformed after, this world is still very useful for the inheritance of heaven and earth. For example, the approximate form of Pangu is recorded in the body of every innate creature. Of course, there was one thing that made him feel a bit uneasy. Pangu is not a male or female as recorded in later generations. It is an innate form, but male or female. The Tao is constantly changing, and there is no such thing as gender. So as long as he is willing, he can also transform with each other, and of course, he can choose one of the forms and directly decide. The most crucial thing is that the best innate body must be closer to Pangu, which means that the innate body that is originally invisible and can be freely transformed is the best. Hongjun felt a bit depressed in his heart. He was born divine, although he had not yet been born, he was also getting closer. The matter of transformation also needs to be put on the agenda. He chose a body similar to Pangu, which is the intangible form of the Tao. There is naturally a benefit, which is to be closer to Pangu and be able to gain a share of energy between heaven and earth. The downside is that it takes some time to adapt. After pondering for a while, he finally made up his mind. Since he didn't want to merge with his own body in the future, he had to make some differences from Pangu. If it were any other existence, they would definitely choose the Tao body closest to Pangu. Directly transforming and imitating Pangu's form, the ultimate result is also following the path of Pangu. The great gods of Pangu have opened up a new era, so innovation should be the focus. In Hongjun's heart, he made up his mind to approximate the body of Pangu. It was also time to make a decision. After all, Pangu is a past existence, and they need to know how to innovate. His gaze gazed faintly at the creation of the jade plate. Without the aura of Pangu's form, he could only compete for the aura of the first innate being. Chapter 2. Transformation and Birth, Hongjun, Shame of All Sacred Ones. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time passes, the sun rises and the moon sets, and on Mount Yujing, Hongjun is practicing hard. The innate body of Qi constantly devours the spiritual energy between heaven and earth. On the creation jade plate, every once in a while, a strand of purple gas enters his body. His breath is also constantly strengthening. However, these are only secondary, and the most crucial thing is his path of equality. With rapid conception and complete birth, it can be said to be truly innate and sacred. It's not like it is now, it's just an embryo. And the creation of jade plates plays a crucial role in this process. He found that on the jade plate of creation, there was a great road carrying the essence of heaven and earth. The aura of the root of heaven and earth on it was very strong, and these things were all excellent supplements for the road he was nurturing. The great roads recorded above have become the nourishment of the great road of equality. This is the terrifying aspect of the creation of the jade plate. This magical treasure is the one that followed Pangu to open the heavens, recording the derivation of all phenomena and paths at the beginning of the universe. The traces of the evolution of the universe are all visible on it. It can be said that it plays a huge role in the cultivation and nurturing of the Tao. As for realm, in this era, there is no such thing as realm. At the beginning of ancient times, in the inheritance of heaven and earth, only 3 levels were given. Congenital beings, innate gods and demons, innate sacredness is the highest, followed by innate gods and demons, and innate beings are the weakest. From birth, their strength is already determined, and later they have to rely on their own cultivation. Divine powers and the like are even more nonsense. The Tao is everything. It is also impossible to increase the speed of cultivation through cultivation techniques. Innate divinity is itself the greatest creation in the vast world, and their throughput has a unique rhythm, which is a perfect method in itself. I don't know how long it has been, but Hongjun's body made a creaking sound, indicating that his own path is about to conceive. With a click, it seemed like a shell-breaking sound. A unique charm appeared between heaven and earth, and a message was inexplicably transmitted to the entire desolate world. The sanctity of equality, the first innate sanctity nurtured between heaven and earth, has finally emerged. Between heaven and earth, the first symbol of luck also landed on Hongjun. On Mount Sumi, waves of heavenly and earthly evil energy converge towards this point, and in the center of the evil energy, an inexplicable sound rings. The first innate sacredness, the sacredness of equality, presides over the path of great equality. What kind of existence is this? It dares to be born before me, but it is a formidable enemy. In the future, it may be me, a formidable enemy who has achieved enlightenment through the path of destruction. As he spoke, an aura of destruction emerged around him. At this moment, Hongjun had already been completely born, and the first thing he had to do was pinch his face. Well, innate divinity, the appearance after transformation can be chosen by oneself. The shape of Pangu and his appearance are the best choices. The Great Road is intangible, and as a pioneer in the world of chaos, Pangu naturally does not have a uniform appearance. You can see what he looks like and think about it in your heart, and he may become what he looks like. The image of Pangu Kaitian, a strong man, and a towering majestic figure, is just what others think, but after Hongjun crossed over and obtained the most basic inheritance of heaven and earth, it became clear. The Great Way is intangible, without the influence of external forces, relying solely on the inner world. If you think that Pangu is a delicate woman, then the image you see in the opening marks is also the image of a woman. Hongjun's gaze gazed faintly at the sky. Pangu opened up the heavens and the earth, and there was a distinction between yin and yang, unlike chaos and obscurity. Since he has made up his mind not to follow the old path of Pangu and pursue chaos, but to follow his own thoughts, his gender has been determined, so what about his face? Is it to follow the path of Pangu, or to seek the beauty and ugliness of the past life, just like in the past life, and make a handsome face? Hongjun did not hesitate and quickly became determined. In this vast world, the concept of beauty and ugliness did not even emerge. So it's better to do whatever you want and follow the face shape before crossing over as your own appearance. Just do what you say. His essence, that innate aura, began to distort. Soon, he changed his image, the appearance of a young man, slowly condensing. In the end, on Mount Yujing, that innate aura had long disappeared and transformed into the image of a young man with white hair and a perfect face. It's not beauty or ugliness, but perfection. This is innate divinity. There is no such thing as beauty or ugliness, only perfection and imperfection. It is obvious that innate divinity, as a great darling nurtured between heaven and earth, is undoubtedly very perfect. With the transformation of Hongjun, his own gender was defined, and there was another force of energy between heaven and earth that landed on him. At the same time, a mysterious yellow merit fell on Hongjun's body above the sky. The male is yang, making this vast world different from chaos. In chaos, every chaotic creation is chaotic and hazy, without the concept of gender. Can be male or female, fate is ever changing. The primordial world, the first innate sacredness, determines gender. This message, once again, was spread throughout the vast world by this inexplicable force. Hongjun, male, is yang. What kind of ghost is this? Each innate divine being nurtured has a hint of disbelief in their eyes. Somewhere in the world of the wilderness, in a valley where the energy of yin and yang converges, at its core, there is a force from the source of yin and yang, constantly devouring the two energies. Above his head, the Tai Chi diagram, the treasure of heaven, communicates the chaos of the underworld. The strands of chaotic energy are absorbed by the Tai Chi diagram and transformed into innate yin and yang. And within the innate source of yin and yang, there came the sound of cursing. Shameful, equally sacred, it is simply a shame on our innate divinity. As creations of the wilderness, we should be on par with the creator god Pangu. Who are you to dare to determine a gender? Such words, in every corner of the desolate world, those innate sanctities that are being nurtured are silently cursing. Compared to them, Hongjun's move is too unconventional. In order to get closer to Pangu and gain his energy, they are all thinking about how to shape themselves closer to him. It's better for you to directly determine your gender. Sometimes, being different from others is being unconventional. In the world of chaos, there are also different opinions. On Mount Sumi, just-born Luo Ting looked at the Xuanhuan Gongda on Mount Yujing with a hint of confusion in his eyes. This thing is introduced in the inheritance of heaven and earth, which can assist them in practicing the Great Way. That Hongjun has determined a gender, but heaven and earth are divided into yin and yang, belonging to the gender of yin. Should he decide? Chapter 3. Hongjun. Luo Yan, are you really brave? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The sanctity of equality is truly my formidable enemy. You are forcing me to make a choice. On Mount Sumi, Luo Ting thought fiercely, but looking at the merits descending from Mount Yujing, he felt a bit envious. This is the first innate sacredness that emerged when heaven and earth first opened, and this position has already been lost. He is innate and sacred, with the inheritance of heaven and earth from birth. Naturally, he knows what this position symbolizes. Similarly, as a person born with innate divinity, he also has his own pride. Being born with innate divinity, how can one stay below others for a long time? Although he is not the first to be born this time, it is impossible for him to be slow at every step. I always think that one day, I can surpass that divine one. As an innate divine and beloved child of heaven and earth, without even the slightest confidence, what kind of cultivation or pursuit is there? At this moment, there was another inexplicable message spreading throughout the vast world between heaven and earth. The innate sacredness nurtured by the way of space, Yang Mei, was born, becoming the first entity to transform into an almost Panga form. At the same time, somewhere in the wasteland world, an old man wearing a green robe, with long green eyebrows hanging down, let out a long sigh of relief as the power of the surrounding space dissipated. I finally caught up. Although I don't know why the firstborn innate divine gave up the body similar to Pangu, this type of innate Tao body first occupies the Qi and is mine. On Mount Sumi, Luo Ting fell silent for a moment. At first glance, it seemed that he had no choice. He either gave up that part of his energy or, like the Hongjun, occupied the innate form belonging to Yin. After thinking for a while, Luo Ting's gaze became a bit firm. He never allowed himself to lose at the starting point. Without the first source of luck and the power of merit, it is impossible to have any advantage in this vast wilderness. After all, these initially conceived beings are all innate and sacred. Which one is weaker than you? Their realm and strength are similar at the beginning. The biggest difference is that there can only be some differences on the magic weapon. Looking at the annihilation black lotus beneath him, he had no confidence that he could surpass other beings on this. In the vast continent, he is not the only one who has this idea. On the endless volcano in the south, a huge phoenix figure landed on a tall divine tree. On his body, the power of the flame avenue is manifested, and the aura around him is also changing, wanting to occupy the innate form of the Yin attribute in the vast world. This person also does not want to give up that part of their luck and merits, and wants to be at the forefront of the innate sacred world in the wilderness. Moreover, in the vast world, apart from a few innate sanctities, there is also a large portion of innate sanctities who adhere to their true selves and are also doing such things. It's not that they don't want to be close to Pangu, but rather the luck and merits between heaven and earth. It's so fragrant that they can't refuse it. Getting close to Pangu, getting closer to him, and pursuing Pangu's realm is not wrong, but wanting to seize the opportunity is also not wrong. In the vast world, one is born sacred and comforts oneself. In the vast world, the process of transformation can be described as extremely rapid. Time flies in the blink of an eye, and in the western region, on Mount Sumeru, a force of qi and merit falls onto it. At the same time, on Mount Yujing, Hongjuan's eyes widened. What did he see? It was the future demon ancestor. Did the information from heaven and earth go wrong? He perfected the innate form of yang in the vast world, and that Luo Yi perfected the innate form belonging to Yin. This is a ruthless person, a true ruthless person, for the sake of a little bit of luck and merit, as for what? Hongjun's inner thoughts about not being the founder of Taoism in the future have deepened. Fighting against such existence is unnecessary, really unnecessary. But if he doesn't want to fight, it doesn't mean that Luo Yi doesn't want to fight. If he wants to rule the wilderness and kill himself, then he can't have no resistance at all. To cultivate, only by practicing as soon as possible and becoming strong can one avoid any disadvantages in any aspect. In Hongjun's gaze, a blazing flame emerged. He didn't want to argue with others, only wanted to have the power to protect himself. Otherwise, in order to gain more luck and merits, the ruthless person who gives up pursuing Pangu and perfecting the innate form of the Yin of the flood and wilderness will not be a match in the future if they don't work hard. This kind of ruthless person, there is nothing that cannot be done in the future, and others may still hesitate. If they can accomplish such a thing so quickly, there is almost no hesitation. It must be the one who did it immediately after successfully transforming his eyebrows. And according to Naroko's swift and decisive personality, so quickly perfecting the innate form of the Yin attribute in the vast world, there is certainly hope that he will be the first to transform into the form of Pangu. And this one, however, did not do so. It is easy to imagine what was on his mind at that time. While other innate deities were still contemplating and pursuing the first innate form similar to Pangu, this one had already considered perfecting the innate form of the gender of the Honghuang Yin, just like themselves. At this moment, in the south, endless volcanoes, the first phoenix in the world, also have some confusion. What is the situation? He was just about to perfect the innate form of the gender of the flood and wilderness Yin, and that Luo Yan had already completed it. Why is it so fast? Is it because he is too useless? Somewhere in the vast world, in the valley where the innate Yin and Yang energies gather, a young man wearing a Yin and Yang robe looked at all of this and angrily cursed. You two, Hongjun and Luo Gui, are shameful of the innate sanctity of our vast world. They have abandoned the will of Pangu and walked straight towards a path, abandoning the complete form of Pangu's great road. Let's see how you can stand on par with us without the most perfect form of the road. When you encounter them in the future, you must teach them a good lesson. The yin-yang Taoist is a bit indignant, these two guys are too extreme. On Mount Sumi, the future demon ancestor has truly transformed and emerged. The endless evil energy of heaven and earth around, combined with the innate spiritual mechanisms around, condenses into a black robe. The face is exquisite and perfect, without any flaws, and there is a pattern on the forehead that symbolizes the Great Road. In the radiance of his eyes, there was a cold expression, but the rune between his eyebrows, symbolizing the Great Way, added a hint of allure to Luo Yan's face. As for those pure white jade feet, they were stepping on a black lotus flower. Above the lotus, there are strands of destructive energy emanating from it, which is exactly the 12th grade black lotus that destroys the world. Suddenly, Luo Yan took 2 steps but found a hint of heaviness. Looking down, he noticed 2 round objects, frowning and showing a displeased expression. Excuse me, these 2 things may become a burden if they really fight against the strong. Speaking, the surrounding heaven and earth's evil energy converged, and on Mount Sumi, blocks of innate divine iron merged with this evil energy. In her hand, a flame appeared, melting those materials and unleashing the power of the Tao all around her, injecting it into it. In the end, a suit of armor appeared and directly draped over her body. This armor tightly confines its entire body. Luo Gui also used his own magic to compress it. Chapter 4. Difficulties in Practice, Crystal God Kingdom. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 5. Fierce Beasts Appear, Hongjun Wants to Travel. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 6. Hongjun. I am the Holy Spirit of the world. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 7 Hongjun. I'm a bit flustered. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 8 Luo Yan. At first sight, I hate you. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 9 Hongjun. I'm too damn weak. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 10. The Terrifying Beast Emperor. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text.